What if the greatest burden is not seeing the truth, but realizing nobody wants to hear it? The book of Jeremiah is not triumphant prophecy, it is grief. A man watching civilization rot from the inside while crowds continue buying, celebrating, building, laughing, pretending the walls are not already cracking beneath their feet. Jeremiah does not stand above humanity. He weeps for it, because he understands something terrifying. Civilizations rarely collapse from surprise, they collapse from denial. Welcome to Code of Scripture. Today, we decode one of the most emotionally devastating books in Scripture, Jeremiah, the weeping prophet, the collapse of truth, and the loneliness of seeing what others refuse to see. Jeremiah lived during the final years before Jerusalem's destruction. Corruption spread through leadership, the poor were exploited, religion became performance, truth became inconvenient, and yet society continued functioning as though everything was normal. This is what makes Jeremiah so psychologically powerful. The apocalypse does not begin with fire, it begins with normalization. The apocalypse does not begin with fire, it begins with normalization. People adapt to moral decay gradually, one compromise at a time, one distraction at a time, one lie at a time. Jeremiah watches this happen in real time. He warns kings, priests, crowds, officials, and almost nobody listens. Why? Because Jeremiah threatens the illusion of stability. Human beings often prefer comforting narratives over painful truth. Especially when collapse has already begun, Jeremiah becomes dangerous not because he spreads fear, but because he interrupts denial. One of Jeremiah's greatest warnings concerns false prophets, not obvious villains, comforters, voices promising peace, peace, when no peace exists. Jeremiah repeatedly describes leaders who reassure the population while corruption deepens underneath society itself. This pattern repeats across history: collapsing empires, financial bubbles, moral decline, environmental destruction, spiritual emptiness. And always voices emerge insisting everything is fine. False prophets do not merely spread lies, they protect psychological comfort, because painful truth threatens identity. Jeremiah understands this deeply, which is why his words feel modern. Civilizations do not collapse because nobody sees the danger. They collapse because acknowledging the danger would require transformation, and transformation terrifies people more than slow destruction. Jeremiah's suffering is unusual. He is not destroyed by enemies alone. He is destroyed by isolation. He carries awareness others refuse to accept. This creates a psychological state many people throughout history have described: the loneliness of perception, seeing patterns others dismiss, feeling collapse before it becomes visible, recognizing emptiness beneath systems everyone else still worships. Jeremiah becomes emotionally exhausted. At times he begs to stop speaking entirely, but he says something remarkable. His word was in my heart like a burning fire shut up in my bones. The truth becomes unbearable to contain. This is the paradox of awakening. Once perception changes, silence becomes painful. Jeremiah speaks not because he wants to, but because seeing clearly leaves him unable to fully return to illusion. Jeremiah repeatedly warns that even sacred structures can become corrupted. The people believe the temple itself guarantees safety, but Jeremiah insists a symbol without truth becomes hollow. This is one of Scripture's most dangerous ideas. Institutions do not remain sacred automatically, not governments, not religions, not traditions, not nations. Once disconnected from truth, they become shells preserving appearances, while the spirit inside decays. Jeremiah warns against worshiping the structure instead of what the structure was meant to protect, and eventually, the walls fall, the temple burns. The illusion collapses physically after collapsing spiritually long before. This is why Jeremiah's story transcends history. He is describing a universal cycle. When appearance replaces truth, collapse becomes inevitable. Why does Jeremiah weep so often? Because unlike many prophets, he does not hate humanity. He mourns it. He sees fear beneath arrogance, emptiness beneath consumption, loneliness beneath status, spiritual hunger beneath distraction. Jeremiah understands that people cling to illusion because reality feels unbearable. This transforms the entire emotional meaning of the book. Jeremiah is not condemning humanity from above. He is grieving alongside it. The weeping prophet becomes an archetype, the one who loves humanity enough to tell it the truth, even when truth makes him hated. Perhaps that is why his words survive, because every generation eventually recognizes the feeling he described. The quiet terror of sensing something is wrong, while the world continues pretending otherwise. This has been a Mysterious Encounters, and the book of Jeremiah is not simply about ancient Jerusalem. It is about the psychology of collapse itself, how civilizations normalize corruption, how comfort replaces truth, how illusion becomes addictive, how denial spreads faster than wisdom. Jeremiah's true suffering was not witnessing destruction, it was realizing humanity often chooses comforting illusion over painful transformation, even as the walls begin to fall. And yet beneath the grief, a deeper message remains. Jeremiah believed collapse was not merely punishment, it was exposure, the revealing of foundations that were already broken, because sometimes a structure must fall before truth can be rebuilt. Perhaps that is why the weeping prophet still matters now, not because he predicted catastrophe, but because he understood something timeless. A civilization survives not by avoiding truth, but by having the courage to face it before the collapse becomes irreversible.